I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again. I am single. I do have a 9 to 5 job where it does not pay me nearly enough to cover the bills. And I've had this house for about 3 years now, and I am just exhausted. I am drowning, barely surviving, not being able to make repairs because the house is now falling apart, and I have no money in my savings to fix it. I have been saving for the past 3 years. All I've been doing is working and going straight home. I don't go out. I don't spend money on like coffee or anything. I try to save as much money as possible so I could get some money to make repairs for this house.
I just wanted to know, like, what was she saving towards, right? Because saving is not saving if you don't know what you're going to do with it. Because that eventually it has to be spent or invested, right? That's the way I believe. That not the way I believe, but that's the way I look at it in that perspective, right? You can save as much as you like, but the money has got to go somewhere, right? One thing that we learned in sales was that somebody else has your money. What does this mean? You know that car you want, you know that house you want, you know that apartment you want to move into, you know that outfit you want, you know the bills you have to pay next month. Somebody else has your money. Now, whose problem are you going to solve in order to get that money? What are you skilled at that's going to help that person solve a problem that saves them time, that saves them energy, and that saves them money? They'd rather pay for a solution rather than go through it themselves. All right. Anyways, I say all this to say her savings is going into somebody else's pocket because she wants repairs or she needs repairs. This is something that doesn't have to happen if you were to rent. Now, I know renting you don't own, but again, we've covered it a million times on this channel. When you're not paying your property taxes, you can't live in the home. They're gonna remove you from the home. You don't own anything in America these days. And that's the truth. I'm not even gonna say the sad truth because that's the truth. It's just the truth. It's not the sad truth. It's not the happy truth. It's just the truth. Hear me out. If she were to live in an apartment, pay rent, yes, she's not owning anything, but that money she's saving, she can invest, maybe buy some real estate. You know what I'm saying? And then have passive income flowing in. But instead, she's saving up for repairs in a home she's living in. That's not creating more cash flow for her every single month. By the way, inflation. She's not even beating the rate of inflation.
Make it nice and comfortable and livable. But I am at my wit's end now, and I'm just tired. I honestly want to leave my job, my 9 to 5 job that's not paying me well enough to even cover the bills. I'm exhausted.
Why do people blame their jobs on why they can't pay their bills? You know, I find it not even funny, pretty confusing how, when people don't have jobs, they're like, well, can't pay my bills. Okay, so the stuff gets canceled, right? And then they get the job that they applied for, and then they say they still can't pay their bills. Now, we know that having multiple streams of income is something that everyone needs, but at the end of the day, when we look at it, why are people saying the same excuses with or without a job? It's not the job, it's the person. It's the living expenses, it's keeping up with the Joneses, it's getting into debt. This is why we create videos like this.
I want to leave, but then I'm stuck with this house, and I just don't want any of it anymore. So I'm selling it. I don't know what my plans are going to be after I sell my house and maybe leave this 9 to 5 job that I'm at. But we're just going to figure it out. So I'm going to sell my house and go back to living with my parents, unfortunately.
See, she's downgrading her living, which is exactly what she should have done in order to get ahead. Now, all those who are out there that are like, well, why would someone rent? She doesn't own her parents' house, or at least she hasn't said it. And she's moving into another household where she isn't responsible for a mortgage. I rest my case.
The first thing I'm going to tell Everybody that intend, and I believe everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice, at some point you're going to be wealthy. The first thing you do when you get wealthy is don't buy a big house. Don't buy a big house. Let me tell you why. And I'm going to use examples to tell you why. You guys ever notice that whenever you first start watching these, specifically, let's talk about Housewives of Atlanta, right? Do you guys know that everybody in that show in the beginning was about to lose their house? I don't know if you guys remember. Go back and watch the first episode, the first year.
I know y'all gonna hate me for this, but I don't watch series. I don't watch things that have episodes. I think it's a big waste of time. I hate the cliffhangers. I hate the what next Wednesday, next up on. I don't like that. If I'm gonna have anticipation, it needs to be towards a goal, not an episode of watching somebody else's life. Shit, I'd rather be the one on someone's TV that somebody's watching. I think I'm doing that right now, but I'm doing it for a good reason because, at the end of the day, there's too much content out here that's distracting, and there's not enough content out here that are actually giving people the truth off of what they should be doing with their finances. No, I'm not a financial advisor, but let's be real here. A lot of these problems, you don't need a financial advisor for. It's just self-reflection at this point. But I'm curious to what this guy has to say. I'm going to go ahead and play it 2 times the speed because it sounds like he's about to cook.
Okay? They were coming in and out of marriages. They were, people cheating, doing all kinds of stuff. Essentially, they were hustlers. Okay? You look at even now. Some of them still struggling to pretend like they deserve a bigger house than they really deserve. Right? That's not specific to them. At some point, this is what I recognize. I've had 2 big houses. I had a 7,000 square foot house and I had a 10,000 square foot house. I actually still own the 10,000 square foot house. I just don't live in it. Let me explain something to you. You get to the point where you're like, what am I living in this big ass house for? And some of you think that's foreign because you only see it in certain places. I know a guy that's a CEO that him and his wife just live in a really, really nice condo. And I start asking myself over and over and over, I start seeing these very, very wealthy people moving out of these big houses. The house is for a show. It's to show people you have money at some point, right? But at some point in your life, it don't make any sense. And what I'm trying to do is get you guys to miss a whole area that you ain't got to do. Because remember, one thing that I've learned is that when you start making money, you don't show it. The only way you prove money is when it's time to do a deal. People can hear rumors, the rumor about, oh, he got a lot of money. He could do this, that, and the other. So what? The only time we prove, I don't care how big somebody, I've did deals with people that had 20,000 square foot houses. And when it was time to do a deal, well, man, I got to do this, I got to sell this, okay, hold on a second. Well, man, this house, okay, I know. You guys don't remember Deion Sanders losing his house? Ended up being up for foreclosure and all that big 25,000 square foot house. Y'all don't remember all that? If you're going to do anything, at the point where you can buy a house that big, buy it and get some fool in there to pay the note. That way you still have it as an asset, because it's really not an asset if you just own it.
This guy deserves a medal. I'll tell you right now, he's literally the only person who's created a piece of content that has literally said what I've been saying over hundreds of videos talking about finances and ownership and especially mortgages. If it's not creating income for you in the moment, it is not an asset. The banks call it an asset. Why? I wonder why they call it an asset. Maybe because they're a bank and it's an asset to them because you're paying them interest, which is free money, and they can take it back if you don't pay them, and then they can go ahead and sell it back to someone else. And you're responsible for covering it, and you don't even live in a house anymore. Come on, man. It's an asset for them, number one. Number two, people believe if it can become an asset one day, it's an asset today. No, not at all. More money comes out your pocket than more money comes in. People talk about maintenance. People talk about damages. People talk about insurance. People talk about, refinancing. They talk about all these things that costs. But they don't talk about any money that comes in from the house. Why? Because ain't no money coming in. Very easy. It's not an asset. People have two different definitions of assets. One group of people say an asset is something that's making me money every single month, or every couple periods. And there's the other people who are like, well, it has value in it. It's no, okay. I consider that like the stock market, unrealized gains, right? It's just sitting there, it's just floating. It's not real until you actually sell, until you actually liquidate. That's why so many people are emotional over the stock market, right? They're like, the stock is down, I should sell. You only lose when you sell. You know what I'm saying? The market can go back up, but
It's an asset if somebody else is paying for it. Just like any other thing in business. When you have items on the shelf, them staying on the shelf don't prove you got no money. That prove you got credit.
Facts. Hayden said, I have a duplex. I live in a one side and rent the other side out. It is a stepping stone, or who knows? I save so much money. I may keep it like this. I'm just saying. 100. Yo, I have a friend that literally started his real estate journey like that, man. Like that's smart. I've wanted to do that as well, but I got to get my money up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, living rent free is one of the first things I definitely want to do when my money makes money. But yeah, most people, when they own a home, they're not talking about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do people consider it an asset? Why do people consider it something that's like they're benefiting from? You're paying money to the banks and you're living in it, and it's not creating any type of income for you. More people complain about the price that the house brings than the money it makes. That should tell you something right there.
Money is actual at work where people are coming in buying that shit and getting it off the shelf. Money is revenue. Okay? What you want to have is always been a situation that whatever you own is producing revenue. Money is like a muscle, it has to work. So, young people, stop buying these super nice cars, or that's not even nice anymore. BMW ain't no better than any other car. A Range Rover ain't no better than any other car. Shit, a Bentley ain't no better than any other car.
I don't even want to get into cars yet, man. But I just want to I want to piggyback off of what he's saying, man, because he's speaking the truth. I was not expecting him to say this. I'm actually really happy, man, because, oh God, when you think about it, right? So many people consider, having a home something that's going to earn them money in the future. But it takes so long for you to get a return that it's like, okay, cool, if you have patience, but it's like, most people get homes because they want to show off. Like, they look down on renters. They look down on people or let me just say this, right? Reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. I had talked about this in another video last week, and I learned this lesson without having to make the mistake, thank God. Because I'm like, oh, that's what an asset is. An asset isn't something that the bank calls an asset. An asset is something that brings in income to me. For example, a lot of people would call a car an asset. When it depreciates, when you drive it off the lot, immediately, that ain't an asset. You just lost value. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why would you consider that an asset? It's an asset to the bank. What's an asset for me right now? Stocks. What's another asset is my YouTube videos that I create, because we're monetized on YouTube. So every video, when we get views, when we get watch time, we get paid. And it's earning me money even when I step away from it. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? But just like other people, like myself, like Hayden, who said he has a duplex, just like other people have assets that they use in order to capitalize and make money, you can too. It's not impossible, and it's not bad to recognize that you were lied to. It's actually a good thing. This is exactly what keeps people trapped. With financially struggling. And y'all gotta forgive me. You know what I'm saying? For being a little slow tonight. I have gotten very little sleep, and it is almost 2:00. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's continue.
The reason why you guys could afford houses was
we
because
worked our ass off and bought it.
okay, but you're trying to say that we don't work.
No,
Everything's
I'm saying
very
you're
expensive.
an idiot because you're living in a house paying all that rent.
Okay.
All right? All you got to do is you're
All right.
paying more rent than you would a mortgage.
Okay. Where my
Okay, so this is a situation where I think this is her father, right? Telling my dad why I can't afford a house at 40. So yeah, a lot of people, it's not even an age thing, man. It's really not. It's a belief. It's a belief, right? And a lot of the times people say, well, you're paying more in rent. People are always focused on the payments, but they're not focused on the long term. And don't get me wrong. Yeah, sure, you'll own a home in a long term run. But what's also long term when you rent is the money that you save without having to get renovations, the money you save without having to pay property taxes, the money you save in so many things of not being a homeowner yet, and capitalizing on the money that you do have left over. Now, even if rent is higher than mortgage, and that's only subject to that individual because so many people also pay higher mortgages than actually paying rent. Let's be real here. Okay. Just because somebody's rent is $2,000 or $2,200 a month doesn't mean that there's nobody who has a mortgage that isn't paying more. We know that, right? The thing is, you can capitalize in both situations. I'd just rather not take on that debt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm having to trade my time for money in order to pay for it. If you're going to have that debt, at least have some income rolling in. It's nothing to flex about, well, the payments are cheaper. Since when? Well, I can't even say that. I don't understand why people flex about how cheap something is per month. And that doesn't even justify like how much their interest is. Like when somebody says something like, yeah, my payments are like $2,000 a month. I don't care if it's $50 a month. How much is going towards interest? Because that's money that you wouldn't have to give up if you were to capitalize and have your money make money. Have interest working for you instead of you working for it.
And everybody doesn't want to be a homeowner and everybody won't be a homeowner. Let's talk about it. They said 68% of adults go and buy a home because they were encouraged to, not because they understood why or why not to. Of that 68% of adults who go and rush and buy a home just because that's what society tells us to do, 32% regret buying that home within the first 5 years of living in that home. See, because I fear that that idea has a lot more to do with the idea of playing home than it does on the actual value of.
She's speaking facts right now, man. A lot of people get a house, get a home in order to show off. Like they made it. That's how they want you to. They want to sell you the dream of that you made it. You're big time now, right? You're making them make more money because you lack patience.
Owning your own home. I'm sorry, owning your own loan. Which is why we have a lot of young adults unmarried, playing house, but in an apartment. Okay, that wasn't part of my script, but stop making people feel bad for not rushing into buying a home because they haven't decided where they want to settle down, and they're not even sure that they want to wake up one day and realize that they are house poor.
Yeah, a lot of people are house poor. I mean, shit. I was apartment poor just a year and some change ago. It doesn't even matter about that, honestly, because it's about, having assets. How much money are you making? And honestly, making money faster than you spend it. But you gotta be able to capitalize on it. A lot of people, they don't mind having them payments and that interest because they see it in the long term. I'm gonna get equity and whatnot. But here's the thing. Is that the only thing that's working for you? You know what I'm saying? You miss a payment, it ain't gonna be working for you too smoothly. It's just not. That's the truth.
Guys, when we bought this house, I don't think we realized how much financial undertaking it would take. Okay, so in 2021, I think when our child was 6 months or so, we made the decision that we now want to move out of our 2-bedroom rental. We were staying in a very affluent area. It was nice. It was very convenient. It was central to everywhere we frequent. But the issue with the property is that it didn't have like a secure garden or like privacy, because the gardens weren't like sectioned off, so anybody could like look into your bedroom window, honestly. And also we shared the same property with a hotel, right? So anybody could really come in. We didn't really have that much of security issues. I mean, I think there was only one incident, but other than that, it was also like just becoming too small, because now these babies are crawling, she can do stuff, and you've got nannies, you've got people coming into the house and all that stuff, whatever. So then we decide, okay, fine, we want to move out of the space. And I don't know why our decision was to buy a house. Fine. We find the home that we now live in. We agree on a price, and yeah, things go on very smoothly. And our house was the last house, because I remember when we were viewing homes, where we bought our house, it was sold out. And then they contacted us like a week later, and they were like, hey, listen, there's someone's bond, whatever, that fell through. There's an opening, but first grab gets it, so come view and then decide. Firstly, we viewed the house on a screen because the house that they used to view was then sold. Yeah, anyway, that's the story for another day. And I think because we really wanted to make this move and we're excited about this move, we didn't really consider a lot of things. So anyway, we buy the house off a plan and off of, what are those things called? Renders. Yeah, off renders. That's what we get our house off of. And because our house was the last one, or like it was a sale that fell through, we took whatever the person had decided on. So there were even things that we didn't realize that we could have added on into our home to make it more comfortable for us, whatever. So we got the house as it is, sharp. When we then decided to accept our bond, we were happy with the bond repayments we had then, right? We never considered that the bond repayments would obviously become way more, obviously also with inflation.
Sounds like to me a lot of people don't know how paying for a house works, or getting ready to pay for a house, or the process of it. I don't know all the in and outs. Just give me the rent, man. You know what I'm saying? Hayden said, now you can rent and put your money in the S&P, provided you don't take it out until you make profit. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. Yep. Let me tell you something. Investing into yourself is one of the greatest things that you can do. If you want to spend money on something and possibly be able to flex, people like to flex, let's be honest, because that's part of the reason why they get houses. It's just like, oh, yeah, we need more space. It's like, who says you need more space? Like, you saw somebody who got more space, and then now you feel like you need that. Like, yeah, you're keeping up with the Joneses. You care about what other people think about you, and you're easily influenced. But here's the truth: when you invest into yourself, you recognize you are your greatest investment. I didn't know that lesson, Hayden, until I invested about $700 into a mentor who taught me how to invest into options and stocks and understand a business that is worth investing in, not because of some TikTok trend, but because I actually know the company. Like, I'm evaluating if they're in debt. I'm evaluating, what is their growth over the past 5 years. I'm evaluating what they're saying on their earnings calls, things that is just literally elementary when it comes down to investing into yourself and learning the stock market or learning about an asset and how to grow it. But most people just throw away money, man. Repairing homes when it's not creating income for them every single month. Borrowing money, paying interest, and talking about how low the payments are is not a flex. Her situation sounds it sounds very, very stressful. I'm not gonna hold you.
So, this is the first tip. Do not budget according to that. Like, do not. Already, the difference between our bond repayment and our rent at that point was 8,000 Rand. We were comfortable with that, and that's what we were prepared for because we needed the space and we really wanted to, we wanted to grow as people. Cool.
See? And this is exactly what Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about. It's like when people grow financially, they feel obligated to get bigger, to get better, to combine their income. And, you make more, you spend more. You make more, you spend more. You're at the same ratio, if not worse, because you keep upgrading as you're making more, as you feel like you need to grow. Like, this is exactly what I was talking about. Come on, man. Come on.
Hi, then 9 months. Yeah, it took about like 9 months for us to finally get into the home, right? In that time, our bond repayment kept going up and up and up and up and up.
I've heard enough. I've heard enough, man. I've heard enough. It took them 9 months. That's a full pregnancy in order to get the home. And their payments kept going. Look, that's the last video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. Oh, you get to own it. You get to have equity. You have more space. Like, you don't, like, I'm good on all that. I'm good. There's nothing you can convince me to make me think that getting a home when you can't have it create income for you is beneficial. It's more beneficial to the banks. Why do you think they're so hell-bent on showing you the idea and the narrative is to get a home? I always question what majority of people do. Why don't people do the opposite? I always question it because I'm like, why follow what other people do without thinking about it? Like if somebody has to tell me, oh, it's beneficial because of this reason, I'm like, okay, so why are there other people on the other side saying it's beneficial? There's two sides to every slice of bread. There's two sides to every coin. There's two sides to every story. There's two sides to every situation. I want to hear both sides before I make a final decision on what I'm going to do. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you like the content. All right, let's get it.